Hello and welcome back to my channel MD to RN, which we know stands for Melissa Del Beato to RN, Registered Nurse. This is video log number 2 in the series, and this video log, in case you missed my last video, is created mostly for myself as a video diary. But I'm also putting them on YouTube to share them for other nursing students to see, so maybe they feel a little more comfortable with things, and also for family and friends who want to keep up with me in my school life. So some of the topics we're going to talk about today are, of course, the nursing orientation session that I had a few weeks ago. I mentioned in my last video that I would try to follow up with everyone and let them know what happened in that orientation session and what my steps are right now, where I'm sitting right now. So let's get into it. The first thing is the orientation session happened Friday, July 9th from 9 to 11, and that's for the daytime Valencia College program. The nighttime program, I believe, had theirs the following Monday, but I am not quite sure about that. So in the orientation session, they talked about, as I expected, having the option between going full-time, which is 3 semesters, and then you're finished. You sit for your NCLEX and you graduate and become a nurse. Or you can do part-time, which is 5 semesters. So if I once again started full-time in this fall, I would graduate next summer in August. If I went part-time, I would graduate spring of 2022. So I believe I'd like to do full-time if I can right now. I am a little worried about juggling that with full-time work, but I think it can be done, and I have no children or anything. I have a pet cat, but other than that, I'm mostly available, so I think it's doable. And even if you do have children, if you're determined, you can find ways if you truly want to do that. So anyway, on to the next thing. They talked quite a bit about compliance. Compliance means things they have to have checked on their side about the students before they can go into the classrooms, into the clinicals, and work with the community. They have to make sure everybody's safe. And so some of the things that they talked about, some of the things we had to do are submit a background test, submit fingerprinting, make sure we are up to date on our vaccinations, and there were 6 that were required. So I'm going to show you in just a second a little bit about the module they created, so you can see kind of some of the things that were required in a little more detail. So vaccinations, drug screening, fingerprinting, and also a physical. So those are the main compliance things that we had to check off before we're even able to start classes. They also talked about a little bit about what kind of supplies we will need, and our uniforms, and just a tiny bit about our class schedule. They have not confirmed that schedule yet, so we don't know about all of the classes just quite yet. So I want to share my screen and show you what Valencia College, at least this semester, has made, a little module online. So let me share that with you. So I'll make my little video smaller of myself. And so here is the Valencia College module they created in Canvas. Canvas is the system, the online system that they've always used, kind of like Blackboard, if you've used Blackboard before. But they use that to organize their classes and all the assignments and grades and due dates, especially for online classes. So they created a module in here, and as you can see, there's different areas like uniforms, required textbooks, School of Nursing compliance information, registration, and nursing advising. So I'll just briefly go into each of these things so you could kind of see. This first one, they show you where we order most of our uniforms from, our uniform supplies, and that company is called All Uniform Wear right now, currently, for this semester. So you can click the link and see what kind of uniforms are required. I'm actually going to make another video about the uniforms and scrubs, and so you guys can see in more detail what they look like up close. All right, so let's go back to the beginning. The next module is textbook list. In case you were curious about what textbooks are needed, you can see here, these are all the textbooks for this first semester of classes. The ones in yellow, they come in a bundle that can only be bought from Valencia College. Also on this textbook list, at the bottom under the other section, it shows you what some of the supplies are that are needed. Nursing clinical uniform, which consists of a white scrub top and black scrub pants. They have to be embroidered and they have to be bought from All Uniform Wear because they have the Valencia College logo. Also, there's a community uniform that you're going to wear, and you're going to get a black polo from Valencia College, and you're supposed to wear khaki pants, and the khaki pants come from All Uniform Wear, and the polo comes from Valencia College Bookstore. So there's a couple other things: a lab coat with the Valencia College logo, a nursing lab supply kit, bandage scissors, pen light, sphygmomanometer, which is a blood pressure cuff, and a current Valencia student ID. So this is a really good list of things that you will need, or gives you an idea at least of what Valencia College is requiring right now in order to start. So let's close that down and let's go to the, so that's mostly it for the book stuff. There's some other things in there, but we don't need to go too in depth. I'm just trying to give you a broad overview of what's they've set up for us in this module and what you could expect for items you might need from Valencia College. The next thing was the compliance overview. This might be interesting to some others besides just students, to know what kind of vaccines are required right now, at least while in nursing school. And I'll show you what some of that looks like. So as you can see, I mentioned the background check, drug test, fingerprints, immunizations, physical. You also have to take a CPR class that's BLS certified, and I've already done that in the past, so I didn't have to worry about that, luckily. But here are, actually, let's go to the next page. So they have this credentials area that will keep track of all your immunization records, of your physical for you, and it includes in the cost a background check and drug screening. Does not include fingerprinting. That is a separate cost. As you can see, that's $103.20, and it does not include CPR as well. The fingerprinting costs $50. It's through another company, and that's just a separate cost. I was going to show you what vaccines you might need, but that's under a different section here. Let's go back to this. I'm going to show you. Here it is. All right. So they made a little PowerPoint, PPT, that you can review if you are in the program. And some of the things they require are, for immunizations, are the Hep B shot. So that was 3 injections you got when you were probably most likely a child. And that is one of the vaccinations that can be waived. If you don't have it, you can decide to waive that if you want to. They do recommend that you get it though if you don't have it. I had it when I was a child, and there's no expiration on length of time that you had to have it in the past. So I went ahead and submitted my information on that. The next thing is the seasonal flu shot. That is the only other vaccination that can be waived. So if you've had the flu shot, great, submit your information. If you have not, you can waive it. Or I don't think right now they have a new variant of the flu shot, so you can't get it anyway, but you could if it were available. The next thing is MMR. That has to be done within the last 20 years. So most of us had MMR when we were a child, but if you haven't had a booster since then, you have had to have had it within the last 20 years. Or you can get a titer, which is a blood draw they take from you to see whether you have immunity to, if you've had MMR, measles, mumps, rubella in the past and have built up an immunity to it, or if you've had the vaccine in the past. MMR should be a lifetime shot depending on how old you are and when you got your vaccinations. So I went ahead and took a gamble and did the tighter blood draw instead of just going ahead and doing the booster shot because it's cheaper. It's less expensive. And since it is normally a lifetime shot, if you're a little older, it might be less effective. So you might need a booster. But mine came back and I had positive immunity. So that means I have the things to fight off measles, mumps, and rubella in me. So that's good. That's what they want to see. The next thing is Tdap, which is tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis. That had to have been done in the last 10 years. And that's pretty common when you go to the doctor. They'll ask you when your last Tdap shot was. And mine was in 2008. So it was definitely time for me to get another booster shot. So I went ahead and got that vaccine. The next is a TB test. The TB skin test is a 2-part test. The first part, they take a needle, they kind of lift up your skin, usually in your forearm. That's where they did it on me. And they kind of lift it up and put some fluid in it. And then you go back within, I think it's 48 hours. You have to go back within a certain window within 48 hours. And they check to see if there's a ring or something around it that shows that you might have TB or had TB in the past. And if so, there's some ways to mitigate that. I did not have any issues with that myself, so I was good on that. But just know that's a 2-part test. You will have to go back and get the second part of that. There is a blood test for it. It's called a quantiferon gold test. I don't know anything about it, but besides the skin test, there's also a blood test you can get for that. Varicella is chickenpox. If you had chickenpox when you were little, there's a good chance that you're still immune to it. Or if you've had the varicella shot before. So I went ahead and took a gamble on this one and also got the titer and saved myself some money. And it came back positive, which is good. That means you have the immunity in you. So those are the two I would recommend if you're going to take a gamble and you're kind of around my age. I would take a gamble on MMR and varicella if you know you've had chickenpox or if you've had a previous lab history work that shows that you were immune to it. So anyway, if you're looking to save money, those are some of the ways I think you can with these immunizations because everything kind of adds up. So yeah, the CPR class has to be a current BLS provider, and they list some things for you. I'm going to close the rest of this because this is all too detailed. We don't need to go in that much detail here. Let's finish up with this module so we can move on to the next thing. Registration, I'll open this, is going to start for daytime in the fall 2021. Registration will open on Wednesday, July 21st, and it opens at 2 p.m. So when that opens, you're going to want to be near a computer or somewhere where you can have access to Atlas. So once you log into Atlas, the Valencia College system, you're then going to put the CRN, which is the course. I'm not sure what the RN stands for, but it's your course number. And they should give those to you ahead of time. If not, you can search the class list and find the CRN that you want to register for. So if you're interested in knowing which classes you should register for, they also gave us a little list here of the classes you will need if you're going to do full-time. So here's the full-time classes you're going to have. This whole program has been revamped. So fall 2021 is going to be the first semester that they're having this new revamped program. So these class names are going to be different than were in the past. And the classes might be a little different. I'm not sure what all the differences are between the past classes and semesters compared to this one. But at least the titles are a little different. Instead of like Nursing 1, it'll say Introduction to Professional Nursing and Healthcare Concepts. And I know this class, they had the schedule for this one. And I believe the lecture's on site for this. And it's Mondays from 8:15 to 11:15 with a clinical on Wednesday from like 8 to 5 all day long, basically. And the clinical, basically you go to like a healthcare site of some sort and you are actually in the field observing and learning and stuff like that. So I know that's what happens in that class, and that's why it's 5 credits. The other 2 classes are Health and Illness Concepts of Physical Health Assessment. I don't really know exactly what that is. I haven't read enough about the detail of the class. And the last one is Health and Illness Concepts of Pharmacology in Nursing. So this is basically your pharmacology intro class. And anyway, so those are the classes that you will need. And you get to register. For us, it'll be next week, next Thursday. I'm not sure if nighttime registers at the same time or not, but I'm going to close that window. So we had a lot of information given to us, and this is a nice little module, but like there's like little stuff like all over in here, and my brain is not able to categorize that just based off this module very well. So what I went ahead and did is create an Excel spreadsheet to organize all the fees, everything I have to pay for. And I'll show you briefly what it looks like. I shared this with my other friends. But so Valencia College Polo, and these are in no particular order really. I would put the location of where you need to buy it from, bookstore, how much it costs, is it required or optional, did I purchase it already, is it purchased, yes or no. So this worksheet has been very helpful to me. I also did that with the books we'll need. I don't have any of my books yet. That's a whole nother topic. But compliance issues that we talked about, fingerprinting, health screening, all that stuff, I've also marked off here if I've done it or not. So anyway, I'm just telling you, if you need help and you're like, wow, there's dates and stuff all over the place, make yourself a little spreadsheet. Save yourself some time of like looking all over, making sure you got everything, and check it off. It takes a little while to create something like this. I want to say filling all this in. It's not even completely filled in yet because I also added tuition, like class, how much they cost at the bottom, but I never did fill that in. That's the least important because that for sure has to be paid, you know, anyway. So, well, all this stuff does, but anyway, that wasn't as big of a deal to add to the list. That didn't have something that had to be done right away. That'll come when classes start. So anyway, this has been very helpful to me, and I think my friends find it helpful for them too. So yeah, that's that. I'll turn off the screen for that. Make this a little bigger. Okay. So some of the other things I wanted to mention were that we don't know, I think I've already briefly went over it, we don't know when the other two class times are going to be. I mentioned the one that's like nursing one kind of. That's going to be Mondays and Wednesdays, but we don't know about the other ones. We know that they're online classes. I think like the lectures online, but you will have to go into an actual lab and do some work. And I don't know if they've scheduled that yet. So that's all we learned. It was a lot of stuff we learned in orientation. And at first I was very anxious, very excited, like, I gotta get it all done right away. But then after I made my little spreadsheet, it really helped me to put things in perspective. One thing I did do was I actually went on site to all uniforms. I drove there. There's two locations. One's in Kissimmee. One is at the Florida Mall. I went to the Kissimmee location. And I kind of wanted to feel the uniforms and see what they look like on instead of guessing my size. And so that really helped me. I thought things ran to size. The scrub top, I think I got a large. A medium did fit me, but it was more fitted, and I want to be able to move comfortably and sit comfortably without worrying about what I might look like or whatever. So yeah, the medium did fit, but the large was a better fit, and that's usually what I would probably wear in a shirt. The pants were the same thing, the black scrub pants, and the khakis fit my normal pant size. So for me, that all worked just fine. And as far as the polo, I haven't gotten it yet, but it's coming. Some people have said it's run a little big, but I don't have it to share that information with you yet. So those are some of the things. In my next video, what I want to talk about I have some of the scrubs in the uniform stuff. So I want to share that with you, but I also want to share some of the supplies that I've gotten already and that I think might be helpful for you. And that's going to be kind of a fun video, I think. So if you're interested, make sure you subscribe so that you can be notified when my next video comes out. And that's all. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.